Okay, so just to wrap it up, we're going to show you a couple other things that you may not be aware of. Spline recomb is very useful for taking a mesh growth and then recombing it from a small set of splines. So here we're going to create a mesh growth. Let's display the guide so you can see what's going on. Get rid of all the frizz and stuff so you can really see it. Oh, well, we're not going to display guides, but here we've created a spline. Now I've created another spline and another spline. Now, based on its proximity to the root of any of these splines, it's going to basically brush our mesh growth. It's going to inherit the shape of that spline at that particular location. So once we've done that, it's just a regular mesh growth, and we can go ahead and use our styling tools directly on the mesh growth itself. Another important tool is conversions. What we're going to do is create a little plane here and move the pivot down to the root of it. We're going to turn this plane into an instance, and instances basically take wherever the root's been placed, that's going to line up with the root of the hair that you grow it on. So now we're going to apply that to the hair as an instance. And we can't see it at this point, so we're going to turn on polygon display. And you can see that we have these planes here, but they're still pretty thin. So we're going to turn up thickness. Root thickness to thicken them up a bit. Now this is really useful for video game people, because the instances, converted instances, because each of these little planes here has the same UV as your original one. So let's say you had a hair texture on that plane. It's actually going to be inherited by each of these instances, and as the dynamics can be applied to that, obviously. But say you're in video games, you just want to import this in for your real-time character. You could use conversions, which we're going to do next, and right after we show off dynamics a little. You'll lose the dynamics when you do this conversion, but you will be able to export it into whatever real-time engine you want, and it's going to still have all those little UVs. So really good if you're trying to do some kind of real-time solution. You can do your whole hairdo in here, and then sub in an instance that you're going to use to put strips of hair on. So now we're going to convert it into a mesh. And you'll see that basically that mesh is just any old max geometry now. It's not attached to anything specific. Another thing you may not be aware of is presets. A lot of people just grow hair and then start doing their parameter settings, and they're not aware that presets exist as a library on the disk that isn't just a pre-created library of these things. You can actually save your own presets, and those will create a rendered swatch that you can then pick later. So here we just made a little purple hair thing. Now we're going to save that. Purple head. Now next time we do load presets, that'll show up in our library. Now mind you, this doesn't save shape. It saves all of your parameters. But what you can do using conversions, if you also want to create a library of shapes, is just convert all your guides into splines and convert all your parameters into presets. Then you could, just using spline recomb, you could apply those to any model, to any mesh growth. Doesn't matter if the point count matches. Spline recomb is going to handle that. You just got to line it up and hit recomb. Spline recomb. Also useful. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Hope that this was informative and you enjoy hair and fur in 3ds Max 9.